Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of Head On. We're here tonight, we're going to head on down to the Nanaimo Port Authority, and we're going to have a look at this economic engine and this gateway to commerce and trade. And here to give us that inside view, we're happy to have in studio Mr. Bernie Dumas, the President and CEO of the Nanaimo Port Authority. Welcome.
Oh,
nice
thank
to
you.
have you
Thank
here.
you very much, Elizabeth. Thank you for the opportunity of joining you tonight.
Our pleasure. And Bernie, how long have you been the President and CEO there?
I arrived in 2009 to take over the post from Bill Mills, who was there for about 25 years. And I came over from Vancouver. I was working for an international steamship company over there. And I've been here, as I said, since 2009 and loving it. It's a great opportunity to enjoy the island.
Well, you certainly have a very diverse portfolio of responsibilities there with all the completely different multimodal types of marine transportation that are in our amazing port here in Nanaimo. And we're just going to show an aerial photo of the actual port itself to give viewers an overview of beautiful downtown Nanaimo port. And Bernie, how far does the actual port extend?
Yeah, so there's 18 federal ports in Canada, and we're graced here on Vancouver Island having two. The Port of Nanaimo and the Port Alberni are two federal ports. And Nanaimo runs out towards Mudge to Dodds Narrows is where we begin our boundaries, and we cover the Northumberland Channel and Gabriel Island, and then we go around the corner into Protection Island, Newcastle Island, into the bay where Departure Bay is, and we stop just at the headwaters of Departure Bay as it goes into Piper's Lagoon.
Right.
From that. So that is the port's area of responsibility, and that's where we manage that area on behalf of Transport Canada.
Transport Canada, yes. And spoke to the multimodal marine transportation there. I mean, we've got freighters, float planes, helijets, air ambulances, marinas. It's very, very diverse.
So the port over the years have inherited certain things, and our primary responsibility is to create the infrastructure to enhance international trade. So we operate two cargo terminals, the Assembly Wharf, where the cruise ship terminal is, and now Helijet is, and our office is there.
Yes.
And we're still loading ships there. And we have Dew Point terminals, which is on Dew Point. We have 75 acres there. So that is our mainstay, that's our main focus. But we run a downtown marina. We have several properties that we manage on behalf of Transport Canada in the Newcastle Island Channel. So we have a lot of hats that we wear on any given day, and we operate. Yeah.
Wonderful. Now, to navigate through this maze of different types of transportation, you're piloting, or have just finished recently, the BC Electronic Marine Highway.
Yeah, Elizabeth, we were working with a couple of energy companies looking to obtain information to data to do various environmental reports, and we started a relationship with Santos Marine in North Vancouver, and we created a domain awareness system that's pretty cutting edge. It impressed us when we got into it, and we've created it within our inner harbor. And it's really a system that monitors the movements of ships, all size ships, and it has an ability to record what's going on 24/7. And so it's really air traffic control for the marine industry. And we're really excited about it, and we've been working with Coast Guard and Transport Canada, and we're hoping actually to apply the system throughout the coast. So we're not there yet as far as signing a contract, but we're really getting very close, and it's a pretty unique system.
It is very unique, and thank you for providing the video footage for us tonight. We're going to roll that footage shortly, and we're going to give viewers a sense of what that Marine Electronic Highway is about. Great. And we'll roll that clip.
The movement of goods by sea has supported world commerce for well over 100 years, giving rise to a need for ships to navigate safely and efficiently. To assist in the safe navigation of ships, authorities throughout the world have implemented navigational aids such as lighthouses and buoys. The BC Marine Electronic Highway seeks to provide additional layers of sensor information to aid in safety, security, and environmental stewardship for vessels navigating the BC coastline.
The concept that we created with Santos Marine is a BC Marine Highway. It is complete coverage over the ships as they move through the waters of British Columbia. The system really tightens up the communication stream to the ship. It brings down the risk factor considerably.
Inside the limits of the harbor, we have something called the Marine Domain Awareness System. So we're providing a 360-degree view of the vessels and their activities whilst inside of the area of our direct responsibility. This is accomplished with a layered integration of sensors. Automatic Identification System, or AIS, is used to collect and display information about AIS-compliant vessels. Radar is used to detect objects and/or vessels. It is an effective sensor for identifying vessels that do not have AIS transponders, such as pleasure craft. The camera is used in conjunction with the radar and/or the AIS system to visually verify targets and situations. With Santos Marine's system, we can simply click on the AIS or radar target, and the camera will swing to and then automatically track that target. All of the data from these sensors is sent back to the command center, where it is displayed on Santos' Titan Sentinel platform. We're building off of an already robust system where large numbers of ships safely move every day by providing more tools that are more reflective of the evolution of technology. This system allows to see beyond the horizon or around a geographical feature by accessing other sensor packages and bringing that information to the ship.
Allowing the port to have an effective understanding of what's going on in and around their area of responsibility, from being able to identify, track, and visually verify targets, to assigning them to specific shipping routes. And if they go off those shipping routes, alarms start automatically populating on the screen. People get emails, people get text messages. So everything's real time. The system's modular, so we can have a number of different stakeholders, our maritime authorities involved. The way the system is designed is we can set up one radar, and that data from that one radar can go to another port. It can go to ferries, it can go to Coast Guard, it can go back to Nanaimo. Same thing for AIS and cameras.
I care about my industry, and the solution we're crafting moves our industry safely forward and allows its continued existence, supporting the nation.
The port is in British Columbia, Santos Marine is in British Columbia, and we're finding solutions for British Columbia.
Very impressive system there, Bernie. How is it going since it's been implemented there at the port?
Well, we probably have the safest harbor in Canada right now. The system is really monitoring the movements of all kinds of ships. We have cameras that are taping things, so it's really an extra level of protection for Nanaimo. And as I said, the system records everything 24/7, and we've been very helpful with Transport Canada and Coast Guard in showing them a couple of replays on a few situations. So it's something that I think is going to be an answer to a lot of the questions and concerns that people have on tanker safety and just safety of ships within our waters. And so, as I said, the system's working great, and we're hoping to be able to adopt it and provide it to our sister agencies.
Wonderful. So this is unique to Canada then. The other 17 port authorities don't have a similar
It's funny you should
marine
say
highway.
that. Edward Dahlgren, Captain Dahlgren, who's my director of operations, is in St. John, New Brunswick, meeting with the Port of St. John, New Brunswick this week. And they're looking at seeing if they can adopt the system for their port in St. John, New Brunswick. So it's still in the early stages of actually selling it or moving it around to the other ports, but it's showing its uniqueness right now with our sister ports right now.
Very good. And congratulations for being on the leading edge of technology
Thank
like
you.
that.
We stumbled upon it, but we have a really good partner with Santos Marine in North Vancouver. They're pretty cutting edge company. And
a BC company.
A BC
Yeah.
company.
Wonderful,
Right.
wonderful.
Okay.
And speaking of safety and security, let's talk about the no-notice safety drill that you recently conducted down at the port.
Yeah, well, Elizabeth, one of our partners is Western Canada Marine Response, and I'm sure a lot of the viewers have heard about them. They're the first oil response group in British Columbia, and we've been working with them very closely for the last couple of years. And one of the requests they had is, can we do a no-notice drill to see how well our Western Canada Marine folks can actually respond. So we worked with them, and just a month or so ago we had a live emergency response. None of their crews knew what was happening or given any advance warning. None of the port people, except myself, were aware of it, and we did a full day and a half of response. And what we did is simulated a cruise ship that had a hard docking to our facility and expensed a fair amount of oil, and they came to the rescue, and it was quite successful. And it was all taped again and whatnot. So it was the first time Western Canada Marine Response did this.
Wow.
And it proved really helping to see where the problems were to communicate in a situation of this nature. And we had the fire department and BC Ambulance. We had a whole series of first responders that did not know what was going on until we called the emergency. So it's a really good lesson, and lessons that were received during the exercise.
That's invaluable, you know, to have that kind of simulation in your pocket ahead of something that, you know, might happen in real time.
And I think some of the emergency response groups are actually looking at doing it themselves for their particular area of expertise. Right. So you may hear about a few more spontaneous exercises this coming year.
This is not a drill.
This is not a drill.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah. What do you use for fake oil if you're simulating an oil spill?
Well, we didn't put any substance in the water because we are very concerned about things like that. It was just an exercise. So it was, we put booms out to a computer image of where the spill was, and they reacted that way.
Yeah. Talk to us a little bit also, Bernie, about the Harbor Patrol and what their role is at the port.
Yeah, so Elizabeth, one of the key responsibilities for the Port Authority is the stewardship of the environment responsibility that we have and emergency response within our waters. So the Port Authority is just about 56 years. We started in 1966, and we started with a patrol boat back then. And it did routine surveillance of our harbor. In today's world, things are always seem to be bigger and faster. So the Port Authority has two patrol boats. We have the MPA Eagle, which is a 32-foot platform, and the MPA Osprey, which is a 38-foot platform. Both of them, just the last year or so, we collaborated with the Nanaimo Fire Department, and their crews are trained on our boats, and our people are trained with the fire department.
A nice cross partnership.
We actually did a cross training and whatnot, and the city of Nanaimo, in their wisdom, supplied some funding, so we actually put some very high-tech fire suppression units on the boats. Basically very pressure-wise fire hoses and pumps. So we have probably one of the better responses for waterfront property fires or marina fires here in Nanaimo. So it's a great collaboration. We are very gifted to have Craig Richardson, who's our fire chief here, who's a very smart fellow, and it's working really, really well. So it's something that most people in Nanaimo go to bed and don't worry about things. We have a really interesting, high-quality fire response on the water these days.
Wonderful.
Protection Island is in a perfect position to use those services, so it's something we're really pleased with.
It's nice to hear that there's such a really strong cross collaboration too between the Port Authority and the fire department.
And a lot of
as
people
well.
don't know that after BC Ferry shuts down for the evening, the Nanaimo Patrol Division are the ambulances. So BC Ambulance uses our vessels to hit all the nearby islands for emergency response for ambulance.
Wow.
So the boats are pretty busy,
Yes.
and they're there pretty well 24/7.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's just segue into the heliport expansion for the air ambulances here.
Yeah. Well, we've been dealing with Helijet. Helijet came to Nanaimo about a year and a half ago and started a passenger service. They're utilizing on a lease our cruise terminal. So we're using it as a multifunctional terminal. And as a result of their daily service that they have operating in the inner harbor, and their operation of BC ambulances, we've actually expanded the heliport to accommodate more space. And so there's 2 extra pads now that will accommodate BC ambulance in case of Nanaimo General having some difficulties or weather or whatnot. So the service is enhanced. So Helijet just announced that just recently, and we're very pleased that that's an extra service for our community.
Wonderful. Another aspect, another angle of the Port Authority that people might not think of. You
Exactly.
know, air ambulances,
Yeah.
marinas, you know, freighters. We've got it all going on. Cruise ships.
Cruise ships.
How's the cruise ship traffic coming through Nanaimo?
Well, the cruise ship business is a difficult, complicated business, and it's just.
We've got a few images of cruise ships that we could show while
great.
we're talking
yeah,
about this.
so we're a little disappointed as a port. Our goal is to have 20 or 30 calls a year. It's been a tough road to try to get to that level. We had 6 this year, and that was a little below what we hoped.
Right.
But we had some really unique ships in. The Explorer of the Seas is the largest cruise ship on the West Coast, and it cannot go into Vancouver because the Lion Gates Bridge is in the way.
Oh.
So she called this year, and we had about, with crew and passengers, about 19,000 people that discharged off the 6 ships. And you know, we're trying to work really hard with the city's economic development and tourism to see if we can get those numbers up to 30 so calls. That would be a fantastic opportunity.
Just walking on the seawall this summer and encountering some of the cruise ship passengers, they were just so delighted to see what a beautiful city we have. Like, they had no idea we had this seawall. I was talking to people who'd come over from Vancouver on the cruise ship, had no idea. So there's so much to showcase here, and I think there's so many you know, pockets of Nanaimo that the cruise ship industry would be interested in showcasing
Yeah, you know,
too.
and the people just enjoy our small town environment. We do need some attractions to get those 30 calls per year. The ships are looking for some unique excursions and
Right.
activities. We don't have a Bouchard Gardens like Victoria does, and so we're trying to develop, and we're really working hard with Nanaimo First Nations to try to do the Newcastle Island. Let's see, we have a great island that's not utilized in any major way, and that would be a great cruise ship activity to get the people over there, and the history of the island and the history of Nanaimo. So we're hoping to develop that this coming year or soon,
Wonderful.
and that will hopefully give us a little bit more ability to get more calls in here.
Yeah, fantastic. There's a real insurgence of interest in First Nations history and tourism and that. So I'm hoping that really takes off. Newcastle Island is such a gem. So let's talk a little bit about the passenger ferry, Bernie. Where are we at with that?
Well, the city and Nanaimo and the port gathered ourselves together to create a group, and we've actually did a letter of expression to see if there is some carriers out there who are interested in doing the service, and that happened in March, and we got 3, so that was exciting time, and we wanted to be really transparent about the process, so the partners engaged a technical group, so we hired 2 consultants, one on marine operations and one on business development and finance, to scrutinize the applications that came in, and that was completed this summer. We just got the report the first days of October. So the partners are working together on next steps, and I think we're going to be in a position probably in January, I think, maybe a bit earlier. We haven't met yet. We're going to have a committee meeting in the next couple of weeks to see what those next steps are. But I think it would be probably in January approaching the carriers to look seriously at a lease arrangement and how we can get the service going. So it's been, perhaps by the public's view, a little slow in getting here.
Yes.
But we were trying to do our due diligence. We had 2 previous operators, if people remember, and both of them failed. So we want to make sure that the carrier we get this time is going to give us the service that we need and be with us for a long-term arrangement. So hopefully in the first quarter of this coming year, we'll have some good news.
Yeah, and hopefully this time next year, we might even have a passenger ferry running.
We're hoping to.
Yeah. Has there been any interest expressed by BC Ferries to run a passenger service?
We approached them and asked them what their interests were. Would they consider doing a passenger only? And their mandate is automobiles, people moving with automobiles, and so they were not interested at when we talked to them about providing this service. So that was the reason why the partners got together and decided, well, who is out there that would do it? So we did our due diligence. We knocked on their door first.
Yeah.
We talked to the province, and there didn't seem to be an interest in it. So we actually went out to private companies to see if we can find one. So hopefully, cross your fingers, and hopefully we'll have some good news in the new year.
We'll be out there to cover the first sailing.
Well, we hope so.
Shaw
We'll give you a
cameras.
shout.
Yeah, thank you. Let's talk a little bit about the Nanaimo Marina Association, the foreshore lease prices that went up quite starkly for the owners, and that they represent 10 of the marinas in the Newcastle Channel. Where are we at with that?
Well, we've been working with them, Elizabeth. Like everything in the West Coast, the waterfront property is going up. And the port goes out to a consultant and creates an evaluation on those properties. And that's what we did in 2012. And the rates did go up because of the real estate values and whatnot. But we're more concerned with the next evaluation. So the port authorities are required by Transport Canada to do an evaluation of the property that we manage on their behalf every 5 years. And the previous one was 2012. And we're up for a new one in 2017. So we're working with the operators. We're not here to put them out of business, but the mandate we get from Transport Canada is to lease their property to operators at fair market value. Right. So we do go out with a private, independent survey. It did go up, and we're working through it with the operators. Some are understanding a little bit better than others, but our real concern is for the next one, because we don't want to be in a position to put people out of business. So we're working with Transport Canada, and we're working with the other ports, Port of Vancouver, Port Alberni, Port of Prince Rupert, looking at some kind of method that may work for these operators, because we have a marina too. We know how difficult it is. So, but we're stuck with these rules. So we're working with them. I don't know if they're all happy. I don't think so, but we're trying our best to be fair about it and find some solutions. And it's been a difficult time, and we've been trying to be open and explain our position. And I appreciate the opportunity of doing that tonight. And so we'll see what we can do for the future, because it's very important for us to make sure they stay in business.
Very good. Talk to us a little bit about some of the bigger projects you have, like the shipping at Duke Point, an update on that.
Well, Elizabeth, as I mentioned in the beginning, we were really facilitators of international trade. That is our job that Transport Canada gives us. And so we run 2 cargo terminals. And one of our hopes is to be in a position to supply the needs of Vancouver Island for the future. And we're talking 20, 25 years ahead of everyone, because we have to have the infrastructure ready to make it possible for Vancouver Island importers and exporters to be successful. So what we're trying to do is find the necessary funding. It's all about money all the time. To double the size of our terminal in Dew Point. And that's our goal. We have a great partner in DP World, our terminal operator, the people who actually man and load the ships on our behalf. And they're global operators. So they're out of Dubai, and they have 60 terminals in 8 continents or something. So we're with people who know the business really well, and they're willing to invest in our terminal on a long-term lease. And so we're just trying to bridge the financing with government, and we're very excited about the federal government's comments about the opportunities next year on infrastructure funding. So
Very good.
if we can have the terminal big enough to cover the needs of tomorrow, that'll be a win for everyone. So that's one of our really big projects coming up. And as I said, we run an Inner Harbor Marina, and it's sort of the showcase of Nanaimo. We have a lot of transients, U.S. boaters coming in and whatnot, and our marina's tired. It's reached an age, so we're trying to find a funding model that'll enable us to redo the marina and build it to a standard that will bring in more tourists and more boaters to our communities. So, as I said, it's all about money.
It is, yeah.
And the port is a small port authority. We don't necessarily have huge ability to fund all these things. So we're working on it.
Very good. And your website is a really easy website to navigate. Must be part of that Marine Electronic Highway. But you've got a wealth of information on there for any of our viewers who want to go online. I mean, you can track vessels that are in and see what types of cargo. About how many freighters do we get a year that come in here, Bernie?
Well, with our partners, and we're talking about Harmac and Timber West and the various other terminals that are within our boundaries, we have about 240 large cargo ships that navigate through our waters each year. And we also are an anchorage spot, so the federal government has certain places to park ships, and those are the ones in front of Protection Island and whatnot.
Yes.
So they're predominantly going to Vancouver, but we handle about 240 ships.
Wonderful. Well, you handle a whole lot down there at the Port Authority, and we just sort of touched on it tonight. But we'd love to have you back to have a little more in-depth look, and maybe you could get out on one of the harbor patrol boats and see what it is that you do as well. But this has been a really good insight into the Harbor Authority, and thank you so much for joining us. And as I say, if our viewers want to go online, you can learn more about your deep sea.
Very much so, Elizabeth. And since our newspaper left, the port has been trying to get our stories out, and within the webpage we have a newsletter. So we have a quarterly newsletter that we put on, and for sure, let the public see it, read it, and we'd be very pleased to hear from the public and to tell us what we can do better.
Very good. We've got your email up, and we've got
great.
your website as well, Bernie.
Super.
So thank you so much
Thank
for
you
coming
very
in
much.
tonight. It's been a
Appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for joining us. And if you have any show ideas, please contact our executive producer, Annette Lucas, and we'll see you next time on Head On. Thank you.